The rain hammered the roof like 1,000 accusations as Joshua burst through the back door, his soaked sneakers squeaking on the linoleum, heart pounding from the scream that had ripped him awake. "Dad? Dad? She's doing it again. Can't you hear her?" He yelled into the empty kitchen. But the only reply was the muffled thud of flesh against the wall upstairs, followed by a woman's guttural moan that twisted his stomach into knots. In that split second, as lightning cracked the sky outside, Joshua realized the hidden camera he'd planted in the garage wasn't capturing ghosts anymore. It was unveiling the monster his father had married, and the secret that would shatter their fragile world forever. Joshua had always known grief like an old scar, the kind that itched in the rain and pulled tight when you least expected it. It had been 2 years since the car accident that stole his mom, leaving him adrift in the choppy waters of adolescence in their cramped Seattle apartment. At 16, he was all sharp angles and unspoken longings, dark hair that fell into his eyes like a curtain he hid behind, and a quiet intensity that made teachers call him thoughtful when they really meant troubled. His dad, Mark, a burly mechanic with grease-stained hands and a laugh like gravel, had tried. God, had he tried? Late-night burgers from the drive-thru, awkward talks about growing up, even signing Joshua up for the school soccer team, as if kicking a ball could fill the void Sarah had left. But Mark's grief had its own timeline, faster and fiercer than Joshua's. 6 months after the funeral, he met Elena at a support group for widowers and single parents. Irony not lost on Joshua, who wasn't exactly single-parent material himself. Elena was everything Sarah hadn't been: polished, ambitious, with a real estate license and a smile that could sell a flooded basement as waterfront property. She swept into their lives like a summer storm, all floral perfumes and promises of stability. "We'll be a family," she'd say, her manicured hand squeezing Joshua's shoulder a little too hard. Mark proposed after 3 months, and by Joshua's 17th birthday, they were moving into her McMansion in Bellevue, a cookie-cutter suburb where the lawns were manicured and the secrets festered like weeds beneath the sod. Joshua hated it from the start. The house smelled of lavender candles and Elena's ambition, open-concept kitchen with granite counters that echoed every slammed cabinet door. His room was upstairs, a guest space she'd redecorated with neutral tones and a twin bed that made him feel like a perpetual child. Mark worked double shifts at the garage to afford the mortgage, leaving Joshua alone with Elena more often than not. She wasn't cruel, not outright. She'd bake muffins on weekends, ask about school with that tilted-head concern that felt rehearsed. But there was something in her eyes, a flicker of judgment when she caught him scrolling through his phone late at night, lingering on profiles that weren't girls. He hadn't come out yet. Not to Mark. Not to anyone. It was a secret coiled in his chest like a spring, released only in stolen moments, late-night texts with Tyler, the boy from his AP Lit class who had green eyes like pine needles and a laugh that made Joshua's knees weak. Tyler Ramirez, half Mexican, all fire, captain of the debate team, volunteer at the local LGBTQ center, and the first person who'd ever looked at Joshua like he was a map worth exploring. They'd met in September, bonding over Vonnegut essays and shared eye rolls at the jocks in the hallway. One rainy afternoon in the library, Tyler had brushed Joshua's hand while passing a book, and the spark had ignited something irreversible. "You're thinking about him again," Tyler teased that first night they kissed, behind the bleachers after soccer practice, the taste of spearmint gum mingling with the thrill of forbidden. Joshua had laughed, breathless, pulling him closer. Guilty. It was messy, Exhilarating stolen makeouts in Tyler's beat-up Honda. Whispered confessions under the covers during sleepovers when Mark thought Joshua was at a study group. Tyler was out and proud, his parents waving rainbow flags at Pride without batting an eye. "You gotta tell them, Josh," he'd urge, fingers tracing lazy circles on Joshua's back. The world's not gonna end, but Joshua knew better. In the Ramirez house, love was loud and unconditional. In his, it was a minefield, and Elena was the one holding the detonator. The first crack appeared a month into the new house. Joshua came home early from Tyler's, backpack slung over one shoulder, humming some indie track from his playlist. Elena was in the kitchen, scrolling her tablet, a glass of Pinot Grigio sweating on the counter. "Hey, kiddo," she said without looking up. "Your dad's got overtime again. Pizza sound good?" He nodded, grabbing a soda from the fridge. But as he turned, her voice sharpened. "What's that on your neck?" He froze, hand flying to the faint hickey Tyler had left that morning. Too eager, too careless. "Mosquito bite," he muttered, heat flooding his face. Elena's eyes narrowed, that flicker again, colder this time. She set the tablet down, crossing her arms over her crisp blouse. "Mosquitoes in October? Try again." Joshua, the way she said his name, like it was evidence in a trial, made his stomach drop. He mumbled something about allergies and bolted upstairs, slamming his door. That night, he texted Tyler, "She's on to me. What if she tells Dad?" Tyler's reply was instant. "Breathe. We'll figure it out. Come over tomorrow?" But sleep evaded Joshua, the house creaking like it was whispering back. Down the hall, he heard Elena on the phone, voice low and laced with venom. "Mark's boy. Yeah, it's obvious. The way he looks at those boys in his stories. We need to handle this before it spreads. Handle it." The word lodged in his throat like a bone. The next week blurred into paranoia. Joshua skipped soccer practice twice, claiming cramps, just to avoid the locker room glances that suddenly felt accusatory. Tyler noticed, of course, pulled him aside in the parking lot, concern etching lines around his mouth. "Talk to me, babe." Under the sodium glow of the street lamps, Joshua spilled it all. Elena's stare, the phone call he'd eavesdropped on, the fear that his dad, his anchor, would choose her over him. Tyler listened, then cupped Joshua's face, thumbs brushing away the dampness on his cheeks. "You're not alone. My folks have a counselor at the center. We can go together." Their kiss that night was desperate, a lifeline in the storm, bodies pressing against the car door until fog obscured the windows. But Elena's scrutiny tightened like a noose. She'd accidentally walk in on his showers, knock once and barge into his room while he changed. "Modesty's a virtue, Joshua," she'd say with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Mark, oblivious or exhausted, chuckled it off. "Elena's just looking out for you, son. Family sticks together. Family." The word tasted like ash. Desperation bred ingenuity. One sleepless night, Joshua remembered the old nanny cam his mom had used for their golden retriever back in the apartment days, a dusty relic in a box of Sarah's things. He dusted it off, heart racing, and hid it in the garage corner behind a stack of paint cans. The feed linked to an app on his phone, grainy but functional. "Just to prove I'm not crazy," he told himself, syncing it up. The first nights captured nothing but Mark tinkering on his truck. Elena folding laundry. Boring. Safe. Then came the moan. It was a Thursday, 2 a.m., the kind of hour when regrets multiply. Joshua jolted awake to his phone buzzing, a motion alert from the app. Bleary-eyed, he tapped play, expecting a raccoon or the neighbor's cat. Instead, the screen filled with Elena, disheveled in a silk robe, backed against the workbench by a man Joshua didn't recognize. Mid-40s, slick suit, wedding band glinting under the bare bulb. They were entangled, urgent, her nails raking his back as she gasped. God! Victor! I've waited too long for this. Victor, her boss, Joshua realized with a lurch, the real estate mogul from the Christmas party. The camera caught it all. The frantic undressing, the whispers of Mark suspects nothing, the betrayal etched in every shadowed thrust. Joshua retched into his trash bin, the phone clattering to the floor. His stepmother, the pillar of propriety, was cheating raw, unapologetic. But worse was what came after, as Victor buckled his belt. Elena lit a cigarette, exhaling smoke like a dragon. And the kid, Joshua, he's off. I caught him with some boy stuff on his computer. If Mark knew, it'd break him. We have to fix this before it ruins everything. Victor laughed, low and cruel. Send him to one of those camps. Straighten him out. Elena's nod was serpentine. Exactly. For the family's sake. The world tilted. Joshua replayed it, frame by frozen frame, bile rising anew. This wasn't just infidelity. It was a conspiracy, her hypocrisy a blade aimed at his heart. He needed Tyler, needed someone to anchor him before he drowned. Dawn crept in like a thief, gray light filtering through the blinds as Joshua paced his room, the hidden footage burning a hole in his pocket. He hadn't slept, couldn't. Every creak of the house was Elena's footsteps, every shadow her reaching hand. Tyler's texts lit up his screen. You okay? Call me. But what could he say? Hey, my stepmom's banging her boss and plotting to ship me off to conversion therapy? Pass the popcorn. Instead, he showered scalding hot, scrubbing until his skin screamed, then dressed in his usual armor. Hoodie, jeans, sneakers scuffed from better days. School was a blur of fluorescent hell. Joshua slunk through the halls, avoiding the chatter of classmates prepping for homecoming, his mind replaying Elena's words like a toxic loop. Tyler found him at lunch, sliding onto the bench with a tray of mystery meat and that boyish grin that usually melted Joshua's defenses. Today, it barely registered. Dude, you look like you saw a ghost. Spill. They ditched fifth period, holing up in the unused chem lab with its dusty Bunsen burners and faded periodic tables, a spot they'd claimed for strategy sessions that often devolved into heated makeouts. Joshua locked the door, pulled out his phone, and hit play. Tyler's face shifted from concern to horror, green eyes widening as the footage unfolded. Holy shit, Josh. This is insane. He paused it at Elena's nod, the cigarette dangling like a guillotine. She's not just cheating, she's targeting you. We gotta tell your dad. Joshua sank onto a stool, head in hands. And say what? Hey, Dad. Elena's a liar and she hates that I'm gay? I haven't even told you. Wait. I haven't told him yet. The admission hung heavy. The first time he'd voiced it aloud beyond their stolen nights. Tyler knelt before him, hands on knees, voice steady as Seattle rain. You're gay, Josh. And that's not a secret to fix. It's you. The bravest part of you. He rose, pulling Joshua into an embrace that smelled of cedar cologne and safety. Their lips met soft at first, then urgent, a balm against the chaos. Tyler's fingers threaded through Joshua's hair, grounding him. We'll do this together. Evidence in hand. But together was easier said than done. After school, Tyler drove him home in the Honda, windows down to let the crisp autumn air whip away the tension. They parked a block away, Tyler's hand lingering on Joshua's thigh. Text me when it's safe. Love you. The words, casual yet profound, lodged in Joshua's chest like a promise. He nodded, throat tight, and trudged up the driveway. The house was deceptively normal. Elena's SUV in the garage, Victor long gone. Mark's truck absent till evening. She was in the living room, yoga mat rolled out, pretending at Zen. There you are. Dinner stir-fry, your favorite. Her smile was a mask. Flawless. Joshua forced a grunt, beelining for his room, but she called after him. Hey, everything okay at school? You seem distant. The pause on distant was loaded, her eyes scanning him like contraband. Fine, he lied, door clicking shut. He barricaded himself with homework, earbuds blasting the National to drown her footsteps. Hours ticked by. Mark arrived at 7, grease-smeared and weary, planting a kiss on Elena's cheek before calling Joshua down. Dinner was torture, chopsticks clinking, Elena's anecdotes about open houses laced with double meanings. Integrity's everything in this business, she said, spearing a broccoli floret. One lie, and the whole foundation crumbles. Joshua's fork trembled. Mark, oblivious, ruffled his hair. Kids got that brooding artist vibe tonight. Lighten up, son. Later, as Mark snored through a Mariners game, Joshua cornered him in the garage under pretense of grabbing tools for a project. The air still held Elena's perfume, faint and cloying. Dad, can we talk? About Mom? And stuff. Mark wiped his hands on a rag, brow furrowing. Course, but what's eating you? Joshua's mouth went dry, the phone heavy in his pocket. He could pull it out, hit play, watch his father's world implode. But Elena's voice echoed, for the family's sake. What if Mark chose her, defended her? The thought paralyzed him. Just miss her. And Elena, she's great, but sometimes I feel like an intruder. Mark's face softened, that rare vulnerability cracking through. Hey, you're my blood, Josh. Always will be. Elena knows that. He clapped Joshua's shoulder, eyes earnest. We're building something here. Give it time. Time. Joshua nodded, retreating upstairs with the weight of unspoken truths. He texted Tyler, bailed. Too scared. Sorry. Tyler's reply, no apologies. We wait for the right moment. Here for you. The right moment came crashing in like a wave the next weekend. Homecoming loomed, the school abuzz with tux rentals and corsage orders. Tyler had asked Joshua weeks ago, casual over pizza, go with me? As dates. Joshua's yes had been a leap, terror and joy intertwined. But Elena intercepted the mail, the formal invite from Tyler's mom, addressed to Joshua and family. She waved it at dinner, tone saccharine. A dance? With Tyler Ramirez? That boy's spirited. You two seem close. Mark chuckled. Let the kid have fun. But her eyes bored into Joshua's. A warning. That night, alone in the garage, the camera caught her again, not with Victor, but on the phone, pacing like a caged panther. Mark's blind, but the boy's the weak link. Tyler, yeah, that Ramirez kid. They're involved. I saw the texts on his phone when he showered. We exposed this. Mark'll see reason. Send Joshua away. Clean slate. Click. End feed. Joshua's blood ran cold. She'd rifled through his things. His phone while he showered. Vulnerable. Betrayal stacked on betrayal. He forwarded the clip to Tyler immediately. She's escalating. Homecoming's off? Tyler called. Voice fierce. Hell no. We go. Show her we're not hiding. My parents can back us, they know about us. The dance was Saturday. Joshua spent Friday in a haze, forging notes for illness to skip school. Elena hovered, offering soup with that predatory concern. Rest up, sweetie. Big night tomorrow. Her use of sweetie was a knife twist. Mark, sensing the chill, pulled Joshua aside before bed. Son, Elena tells me you're pulling away. Talk to me. Desperation clawed at Joshua. Dad, what if? What if I liked someone? Like a guy? The words tumbled out, raw and trembling. Mark's face went slack, then crumpled. Josh. He trailed off, rubbing his neck. The mechanics tell for discomfort. Your mom's gone, and I'm trying, but it's a lot. Elena and we can get help. Counseling. Just don't rush. Not rejection, but not acceptance, a limbo that stung worse. Joshua fled to his room, tears hot on his pillow. Tyler's goodnight text was a lifeline, one day at a time. See you tomorrow, handsome. Homecoming night arrived under a harvest moon. The gym transformed into a glittering forest of fairy lights and crepe paper. Joshua dressed in Tyler's bathroom, nerves jangling, while the Ramirez's fussed like proud hens. You look dashing, Mrs. Ramirez said, adjusting his borrowed tie, navy silk against his white shirt, slacks hugging his lean frame. Tyler emerged in a matching vest, hairstyled just so, eyes devouring Joshua. Mine, he murmured, stealing a kiss before the parental photo op. The drive to school was electric, hands intertwined over the gear shift, Tyler's playlist crooning soft indie anthems. Whatever happens, we're in this. Inside, the bass thrummed, bodies swaying under strobing lights. They danced close, Tyler's hand firm on Joshua's waist, whispers lost in the din. For 2 hours, it was perfect, freedom in motion, the world narrowing to green eyes and shared breaths. Then Elena appeared, uninvited, at the punch bowl with Mark in tow. Surprise visit, she cooed, but her gaze was venom. Mark waved awkwardly. Thought we'd chaperone a bit. The air thickened. Tyler stiffened beside Joshua, but they held ground, dancing through one more song. As the crowd thinned for the slow set, Elena cornered them by the bleachers. Enjoying yourself, boys? Her smile was a shark's. Mark, look how cozy. Mark's face darkened, confusion warring with hurt. Josh, what's this? The gym spun. Joshua's voice cracked. Dad, it's me. This is who I am. Tyler, he's... Elena pounced. See? I told you. He's confused. Mark. We can fix this. The word fix ignited something primal. Joshua shoved his phone into Mark's hand. Watch. Now. The footage played. Silent but damning, Elena and Victor, then her scheming call. Mark's color drained, eyes flicking from screen to wife. Elena? What the hell? She snatched the phone, but Tyler grabbed it back. Voice steady. It's over. We have copies. Chaos erupted, shouts. Elena's denials melting into sobs. Mark hauling her toward the exit as chaperones swarmed. Joshua and Tyler slipped out a side door, into the cool night, collapsing against the brick wall. You did it, Tyler breathed, pulling him close. But as sirens wailed in the distance, someone had called the cops on the scene. Joshua wondered if freedom came at too high a cost. The fallout hit like an aftershock, rippling through the weekend in seismic waves. Saturday bled into Sunday with Mark and Elena's marriage fracturing audibly. Raised voices echoing down the halls at dawn. Accusations hurled like shrapnel. Joshua barricaded in his room. Phone clutched like a talisman. Fielding texts from Tyler. Cops took statements. She's lawyered up already. Then, your dad's calling. Pick up? Joshua didn't. Instead, he scrolled old photos of his mom, her smile a beacon in the storm, wondering if she'd faced her own secrets with such grace. Mark knocked at noon, voice hoarse through the door. Josh, we need to talk. Please. Reluctance warred with longing. Joshua cracked it open. Mark standing there disheveled, unshaven, eyes red-rimmed, the man who'd once bench-pressed him as a toddler now looking breakable. Come in, Joshua muttered, perching on the bed's edge. Mark sank into the desk chair, rubbing his temples. I saw the video. All of it. God, son, I'm sorry for not seeing any of it. Joshua's throat tightened. You chose her. Over Mom's memory. Over me. The words were a whip, but Mark didn't flinch. I was lonely. Stupid. Thought she was the fix. He leaned forward, elbows on knees. About you and Tyler. I panicked at the dance. But that's on me, not you. You're my kid. Gay, straight, doesn't change that. The admission hung, tentative but real. Joshua's eyes burned. She wanted to send me away. To fix me. Mark winced. I know. She's gone. Staying at her sister's. We're done. Silence stretched. Then Mark added, soft, proud of you. For standing up. It wasn't absolution, but it was a bridge. They ordered Chinese takeout that night, eating cross-legged on the living room floor like old times, fortune cookies cracking open to half-hearted laughs. Mark shared stories of his own youth, a fumbling crush on a farm boy in rural Washington, buried under layers of schutz. World's changing. Josh. And if it's not, we change it. By bedtime, the house felt less like a cage, more like a harbor, battered, but holding. Monday brought school, a gauntlet of whispers and stares. Homecoming drama had spread like wildfire. Did you hear? Joshua's stepmom's a cheater, and he's gay. Tyler met him at the lockers, backpack slung low, a defiant arm around Joshua's shoulders. Own it, he murmured, and Joshua did, head high through the halls, ignoring the snickers, leaning into Tyler's warmth. Lunch was their sanctuary, picnicked on the football field, PB and JS and dreams dissected. College next year, Tyler mused, lacing their fingers. You, me, some rainy campus in Portland. Sound good, Joshua grinned, genuine for the first time in days. With you, anywhere. But Elena's shadow lingered, claws retracted but not sheathed. Tuesday evening, as Joshua helped Mark sort her things into boxes, silk blouses folded with mechanical precision, the doorbell rang. Victor, suit rumpled, face ashen. Mark, man, we need to. Mark's fist connected before words finished. A haymaker born of betrayal that sent Victor sprawling on the porch. Get off my property, Mark growled. Joshua frozen in the doorway, adrenaline surging. Cops came again. Statements taken amid flashing lights. Elena's name invoked like a curse. Victor slunk away, promising lawsuits that dissolved in the face of irrefutable footage Joshua's app had archived. The scandal rippled outward. Elena's real estate firm suspended her pending investigation. Whispers in Bellevue coffee shops painted her as the villain. Mark the wounded hero. Joshua, thrust into the spotlight, found unexpected allies. The school counselor, Ms. Hale, who pulled him aside for a chat. Pride meeting after school? Tyler's been raving about you. He went, hesitant. The circle of faces, queer kids like him, sharing stories of coming out amid Bible belts and boardroom bigotry, a revelation. You're not broken, one girl said, non-binary and fierce. You're the story they can't erase. Tyler squeezed his hand under the table, pride swelling. Yet doubt crept in nocturnal hours. Late one night, Joshua dreamed of Elena's cigarette smoke, waking sweat-soaked to Mark's snores down the hall. He texted Tyler, "What if she comes back, poisons him against me?" Tyler's video call lit the dark. Tousled hair, sleep-creased cheek, voice a rumble. She won't. And if she tries, we've got proof. But hey, focus on us. Remember that road trip idea? Spring break. Just you and me. Olympic Peninsula. Tense. Stars. No drama. Joshua laughed. The sound rusty but real. Deal. But you packed the bug spray. They talked till 3 a.m. Fantasies weaving a future beyond the wreckage. Spring break arrived like a sigh of relief. The Honda loaded with coolers and optimism. Mark waved them off with a bear hug and a wad of cash. Be safe. Call if you need. The drive wound through evergreens. Radio blasting mixtapes Tyler had curated. Hosier for the soulful stretches. Tegan and Sarah for the anthemic climbs. They pitched tents on a bluff overlooking the Strait of Juan de Fuca. Salt air mingling with pine. The world reduced to canvas walls and crashing waves. Nights were theirs. Bonfires crackling. Marshmallows charred to perfection. Bodies entwined under sleeping bags. Tyler traced constellations on Joshua's skin, murmuring, "You're my North Star. You know that." Joshua, vulnerable in the firelight, confessed fragments of fear, the ache of his mom's absence, the terror of Elena's gaze. "I thought love like this was a fairy tale." Dangerous. Tyler's kiss silenced him, deep and affirming. "It's real. We're real." Days blurred into hikes and hand-holding, tide pools teeming with secrets of their own. One afternoon, caught in a sudden squall, they dashed for cover under a driftwood shelter, laughing till breathless. Tyler pulled Joshua close, rain drumming overhead. "Marry me someday?" he whispered, half joking. "Ring a twig twisted hasty." Joshua's heart stuttered. Someday. It was a vow. Fragile as the wood, but binding. Back home. Reality reasserted. Elena filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences. Her settlement a bitter pill Mark swallowed with lawyers' ink. She vanished from Bellevue. Rumor had it to Phoenix. Victor in tow. A fresh start built on old lies. Joshua's 18th birthday passed quietly. Cake from Mark. A leather-bound journal from Tyler inscribed for the stories we'll write. School wound down. Graduation a blur of caps and cheers. Tyler's valedictorian speech a coded love letter. To the ones who taught us to stand in our truth, thank you. Summer hummed with possibility. Joshua waitressed at a beachside cafe. Tips funding their Portland dream, community college for him. State uni for Tyler. An apartment with creaky floors and views of the Willamette. Evenings were bonfires at Tyler's. Mark joining with beers and bad jokes. The three of them a makeshift family. You're glowing, son, Mark said one night, clapping Joshua's back. Deserve it, but beneath the mending, fissures lingered. One August evening, as Joshua scrolled job listings, a blocked number pierced his phone. Elena. We need to talk. For Mark's sake. His finger hovered, delete warring with dread. Tyler, sensing the shift, curled around him on the couch. Don't. She's poison. Joshua blocked it, but sleep brought dreams of her face, twisted in that final, serpentine nod. September loomed, boxes packed for the move. The night before departure, Mark threw a barbecue, neighbors toasting the new chapter, oblivious to the scars. Tyler arrived with a six-pack and stories, but as dusk fell, Elena's SUV pulled into the driveway unannounced. Mark's face thunderous, Joshua's pulse racing. What the hell? Mark barked, blocking the porch. She stepped out, gaunt and composed, eyes locking on Joshua. I came to apologize. To all of you, lies. Joshua knew, but Mark waved her in, ever the fixer. Over lukewarm hot dogs, she spun her tale. Remorse, therapy, Victor a mistake. Joshua, I was scared. Of losing the family I'd built. My words. They were wrong. Cruel. Her gaze pleaded. But Joshua saw the calculation, the divorce dragging, assets in limbo. Tyler, arm around Joshua, cut in. Apology noted. But trust? That's earned. Elena nodded, defeated, but as she left, her whisper to Joshua lingered. Be careful, boy. Love like yours breaks men. The door shut, but the chill remained. Portland awaited, a clean slate. Yet as Joshua and Tyler loaded the car at dawn, rain slicking the windshield, he wondered if secrets ever truly died, or if they just migrated, waiting for the next storm. Portland embraced them like a prodigal son. Drizzle-kissed streets, food carts steaming with falafel and pho, the hum of hipsters and dreamers converging on Powell's city of books. Their apartment was a third-floor walk-up in the Alphabet District, walls paper-thin and paint peeling, but it was theirs. Mismatched furniture scavenged from curbsides, a window box of basil thriving against odds. Joshua enrolled in graphic design classes at Portland Community College, his sketches evolving from tentative lines to bold narratives, queer icons reimagined, stories etched in ink. Tyler dove into poli-sci at PSU, debates sharpening his fire, weekends volunteering at the Q Center where he'd drag Joshua for open mics. Life settled into a rhythm, intimate and intoxicating. Mornings tangled in thrift store sheets. Coffee brewed strong on a hot plate. Evenings wandering the bridges. Hands swinging. The Willamette reflecting city lights like scattered diamonds. Tyler's passion was contagious. Posters for rallies pinned above their bed. Love wins scrawled in Sharpie on the fridge. "We're building something unbreakable," he'd say. Cooking ramen elevated with scavenged mushrooms. Joshua's head on his shoulder. Sex was discovery. Slow explorations by candlelight. Laughter punctuating gasps. Bodies learning the language of trust. Mark visited monthly, the Honda groaning under his frame as he crashed on their futon, regaling with garage gossip and Mariner scores. Proud as hell. Boys. He'd grunt over pancakes. The word boys, a quiet evolution from awkward silences. He even dated a quiet librarian named Carla, her laugh light as dandelion wine. "Take it slow, Dad," Joshua advised, echoing lessons learned. Mark nodded, eyes twinkling. From the expert, Elena's ghost faded to echoes. The divorce finalized in October, Mark emerging leaner, wiser, with a settlement that funded a shop expansion. She surfaced once, a Christmas card postmarked Phoenix, "Wishing you all peace." Joshua burned it in the sink, Tyler's arms around him. Ashes to ashes. Winter brought firsts. Joshua's exhibit at a campus cafe. His digital portrait of Tyler, emerald eyes fierce against a stormy skyline, selling for $50 to a teary alum. Tyler's proposal of a joint tattoo, intertwined infinity loops on their wrists, inked in a Hawthorne parlor amid punk rock and aftercare lotions. "Forever starts now," Tyler whispered. The needles buzz a hymn. But cracks spiderwebbed in the spring, subtle as seismic tremors. Tyler's internship at a nonprofit ballooned. Late nights drafting grants. Weekends at conferences in Olympia. Joshua supported, cheering from the sidelines, but loneliness crept in like fog off the river. His classes intensified, deadlines piling like storm clouds, sketches turning introspective, shadowed figures grappling with unseen weights. One night, Tyler stumbled in at 2 a.m., Tyascu, smelling of bar smoke and someone else's cologne. "Just networking," he yawned, collapsing into bed. Joshua lay awake, the infinity loop on his wrist suddenly constricting. Doubt festered. Joshua threw himself into freelance gigs, designing logos for queer-owned bakeries, but the apartment felt cavernous. Texts from Mark checked in. "All good?" He replied breezy, but Tyler noticed the drift. "You're quiet lately," he said over takeout Thai. Chopsticks paused. Joshua shrugged. "Just tired." "You are too." Tyler reached across, thumb tracing the tattoo. "Talk to me." "We're a team." The confession slipped out piecemeal. The emptiness when Tyler was gone. The echo of Elena's whisper. "Love like yours breaks men." Tyler's face fell. "Josh, I didn't know it hit that hard." "The internship's temporary. Ends in June. Then it's us. Full-time." They made love that night, tender and reaffirming, but the seed was sown. June arrived with fanfare. Tyler's promotion to full-time coordinator, a salary bump funding a weekend getaway to the coast. Cannon Beach, where Haystack Rock loomed like a sentinel, waves carving secrets in the sand. They walked barefoot at low tide, collecting agates smooth as promises. "Remember our twig ring?" Tyler asked, skipping a stone. Joshua nodded, the memory a balm. Some days closer, that night, in a driftwood cabin, Tyler dropped to one knee, not with a ring, but a conch shell, voice cracking. Marry me? For real? When we're ready. Tears blurred Joshua's yes, their bodies sealing it under salt-stiff sheets. Back in Portland, bliss reigned briefly. Wedding Pinterest boards mocked up on lazy Sundays. Guest lists scribbled with Mark at the top. But Tyler's hours stretched. The nonprofit's demands insatiable fundraisers, advocacy trips to Salem. Joshua's freelance dried up amid summer slowdown, leaving him adrift in the apartment, sketching feverishly. Tyler's face morphing from lover to stranger, Elena's shadow lurking in the margins. The betrayal brewed in July, a heatwave turning the city into a sauna. Joshua, restless, scrolled Tyler's phone during a rare shared lunch, unlocked, innocent, but curiosity a serpent. Messages from Alex, a colleague, flirty emojis punctuating work banter, miss our coffee chats. You're fire. Then, a photo, Tyler at a bar, arm around Alex, both laughing, time-stamped last week's late meeting. Joshua's stomach plummeted. He confronted Tyler that evening, phone thrust forward. Who's this? Tyler's color drained. Josh. There's nothing networking, I swear. But the defensiveness cracked him open. A drunken kiss after a stressful pitch. One-time stupidity. Alex pursuing but Tyler shutting it down. I love you. Only you. Joshua reeled. Elena's voice a chorus. Breaks men. How do I know? You disappear. And I wait like some desperate kid. The fight escalated. Words weapons. Joshua's insecurities lashing out. Tyler's guilt fueling defensiveness. You're suffocating me, Tyler shouted, storming out. Silence descended, heavier than the humidity. Joshua curled on the couch, sobs racking till dawn. Mark called at sunrise. Heard from Tyler? Joshua's voice broke the dam. Mark drove down that day, 6 hours in traffic, enveloping Joshua in a hug that smelled of motor oil and home. Betrayal's a bitch, son. But you're stronger. They talked till dusk. Mark's own infidelity in his 20s, the wreckage with Sarah's parents, the growth that followed. Love's not perfect. It's choice. Every damn day. Tyler returned at midnight, eyes hollow, a bouquet of daisies wilted in his fist. I'm sorry. I quit the extra shifts. Therapy. Together, whatever it takes. Forgiveness was a jagged pill, swallowed with conditions. Boundaries, check-ins. The Q Center's couples group. They rebuilt, brick by painful brick, date nights enforced. Vulnerabilities aired like laundry. Fall foliage turned Portland gold as they healed. Joshua's senior project, a graphic novel excerpt on hidden cameras and hidden hearts, earned a scholarship, panels blending their story with Elena's ghost. Tyler proposed formally at Thanksgiving. Ring simple platinum with a sapphire inlay. Mark toasting with tears. To family, blood and chosen. Yet the humanistic ache lingered, growth born of fracture. One December eve, snow dusting the Pearl District, Joshua and Tyler wandered hand in hand to a holiday market. Amid twinkling lights and mulled wine, Joshua spotted a face from the past. Elena, arm in arm with Victor, older, wearier. Their eyes met across the crowd. Hers widened, then softened. She approached, hesitant. Joshua, you look happy. He nodded, Tyler's hand steady in his. I am. Took work. Elena's gaze flicked to the ring. I was wrong. About everything. Congrats. No apology demanded. Just truth acknowledged. A humanistic truce. Her villainy humanized by time's erosion. As she walked away, Joshua turned to Tyler. Some days now, they kissed under the snow. The city a blur. Their story etched not in betrayal's scar, but in resilience's light. The wedding was a quiet affair. June's sun gilding the backyard of Mark and Carla's new place. A modest rancher on the Puget Sound. Wild roses climbing the fence like nature's confetti. 50 guests. Tyler's sprawling family in colorful serapes and abuela's recipes. Joshua's art school crew with rainbow pins glinting. Mark beaming in a seersucker suit Carla had picked. No Elena, uninvited. Her absence a mercy. The officiant, a non-binary elder from the Q Center, wove their vows with indigenous threads. In the spirit of chosen kin, do you pledge to hold, to heal, to evolve? Joshua, in a linen shirt the shade of sea glass, trembled as Tyler slid the ring home, platinum band engraved with their infinity loops. I do, Tyler said, voice steady, green eyes locked like anchors. Through storms and secrets, you're my horizon. Joshua's I do cracked on the edges, emotion spilling over. The kiss sealed it, soft thunder amid cheers, Mark's whoop loudest, Carla dabbing tears with a handkerchief. The reception spilled into twilight, picnic tables groaning under tamales and salmon gravlax, a playlist blending Billie Holiday with Bad Bunny. Joshua and Tyler danced first, barefoot on grass, the world narrowing to sway and whisper. Mr. and Mr. Ramirez hail, Tyler teased, nuzzling his neck. Joshua, opting for hail, a nod to his mom's maiden name, laughed. Sounds like a law firm. Or a band. Later, under string lights, Mark pulled Joshua aside, Carla tactfully distant. Your mom's watching, son. Smiling, Joshua hugged him fierce, the ache bittersweet. Thanks, Dad. For everything. Honeymoon was a road trip echo, Olympic Peninsula again, but upgraded glamping in yurts, whale watches off the coast. They hiked Hurricane Ridge at dawn, fog parting to reveal peaks like promises kept. Nights were reverie, stargazing from hammocks, stories swapped to futures, Joshua's graphic novel deal in talks with a small press, Tyler eyeing law school for queer rights. We'll change the world, Tyler murmured, fingers interlaced. One hidden truth at a time. Back in Portland, domesticity deepened. The apartment traded for a bungalow in Selwood, backyard for Basil and a rescue mutt named Scout. Tyler's impulse, Joshua's heart. Careers bloomed. Joshua's book, Shuttered Secrets, hit indie shelves. A semi-autobiographical tale of cameras and closets that resonated in queer-lit circles. Reviews praised its raw humanism, the betrayal to belonging arc. Tyler clerked at a firm specializing in family law. Advocating for kids like Joshua once was outings from conversion mills, custody for rainbow families. Mark and Carla's wedding followed in September. A lakeside bash where Joshua walked his dad down the aisle. Tyler best man with a speech that roasted gently. To Mark, for raising a man who loves fiercely. To Carla, welcome to the chaos. Elena sent a card neutral and signed by Victor, whispers of their split filtering through mutuals. Joshua filed it away, unopened, some wounds scarred over, not erased. Challenges came. As they do, Tyler's bar exam stress fracturing sleep. Joshua's sophomore slump doubting his art. Fights flared. a forgotten anniversary sparking accusations of neglect, echoing old ghosts. But therapy anchored them. The counselor's office a safe harbor for unpacking Elena's legacy, the hypervigilance, the fear of fracture. Betrayal teaches caution, she said. But love demands risk. They emerged tighter, tattoos renewed with tiny stars beside the loops. Winter brought profundity. Adopting a foster teen. Alex, no relation to the bar-kiss ghost. A wiry 15-year-old with Joshua's haunted eyes, outed by a step-parent's rage. "We see you," Tyler told him on intake day, echoing their own vows. Alex's integration was messy, curfews broken, walls punched, but Joshua mentored through sketches, Tyler through talks. Mark became the gruff uncle, teaching engine rebuilds in the driveway. "Family's what you build, kid," he'd say, grease on Alex's hands mirroring his own youth. By spring, Alex bloomed, coming out panel at school, art club president. His hug at Joshua's book launch, shuttered secrets signing in a packed Elliott Bay, held gratitude wordless. "You saved me," Alex whispered. Joshua shook his head. "We all save each other." The climax of their year unfolded in July, a sweltering heat wave mirroring the one of Tyler's lapse. A call from Bellevue PD, Elena, arrested in a DUI crash, minor injuries, but her blood alcohol triple limit. Victor's car totaled in a ditch. "Mark, ever the soft touch?" asked Joshua. "Should I go?" Joshua pondered, the humanistic pull warring with pain. "Yeah. But I'm coming too." The hospital room was sterile. Elena diminished in a gown, bruises blooming like regret. Victor absent. Her eyes met Joshua's, older, stripped bare. "I deserved this," she rasped. No fight left. Mark hovered, conflicted. Tyler, at Joshua's side, silent support. Joshua spoke first. "Why'd you hate me so much? Was it you? Or the fear?" Elena's tears fell. "Both. My brother. He was like you. Lost him to AIDS in '92. Couldn't save him, so I fought shadows." The revelation landed soft. A mother's grief twisted into mother's fury. No absolution begged, just understanding offered. "Forgive?" Mark asked later, over coffee in the cafeteria. Joshua sipped, Tyler's hand under the table. "Not yet. But I get it. Human. Messy." Elena's release was probation, rehab mandated. She vanished again, to Spokane this time. Letters sporadic. Amends in ink. Read or not. Summer closed with a family trip. Seattle to Portland train. Alex glued to his Switch. Mark and Carla debating crosswords. A journey's end. Backyard barbecue. Joshua raised a glass. To secrets revealed, and the light after. Tyler clinked. Eyes shining. To us. Years folded forward. Alex off to college. Majoring in social work. Joshua's second book. A collaboration with Tyler on queer foster rights. Mark retiring to fish with Carla. Grandkids. Adopted nieces and nephews. Filling the sound house. Tyler's run for city council at 30. Joshua campaigning with posters of their rings. The most dramatic scene etched in memory. That rainy dusk years prior. Joshua on the deck. Footage damning in his hand. Tyler's reach a lifeline. It replayed in quiet moments. Not as trauma, but triumph. The hook that pulled them from depths to dawn. In the end, their story wasn't fairy tale flawless, nor tragedy unrelenting. It was American raw. Betrayal's sting yielding to love's labor, conflicts clashing into compassion. Joshua, once the hidden teen, now stood open, husband, mentor, artist, whispering to Tyler in bed, "We made it." Tyler's reply, "Always, and we're just starting." Humanity's arc bent not by perfection, but persistence, the shocking secret a catalyst for souls unbound.